Okay, another modification that has been talked about on some of the forums, and that is keeping the trampoline a bit tighter. We have played around with hard tramps, which is another video on our website at riggingdimensions.com.au. But just in light of the soft tramp here, what we've done is we've actually modified these brackets. So the buckles, the plastic ones, we've snapped a few over the time. So we've modified them with a stainless steel cam buckle and a C-shaped sort of clamp arrangement, if you like. All it does is go from underneath so that the buckle is away from everybody. That just clips on and then tightens up. With the excess through, because it's good to have a tail to give some purchase to be able to tighten. That can give a double purchase if you need to do another piece. And then all we do is pop the strap through just for while we're on the water. We found that that's been a particularly good arrangement. We used the red only because that was what we had available at the time. You can use black, although there's been a few comments that people like the red. So, you know, 1-inch black webbing, red would be fine. The buckles are quite easily purchased, but the modification with the C-shaped clamping arrangement, or I should say clip type arrangement, is another modification by Rigging Dimensions. This means that at least the tramp now is actually quite hard and quite easy to sit on, keep out of the water. So that's been a successful modification for us. We've both the tandem and the adventure have broken a number of the black clips, and you can never seem to get the tension that well. Just take a look now at the main sheet. We've just talked about that in a minute, a little bit earlier. Let's come back and have another look at it. As we said before, the main sheet is now running back through the Harken cam clip, which is actually just removed from the cross member, back to a stainless steel plate. That plate is actually bolted to the hull with a reinforcing stainless steel plate inside the hull, so nothing can ever come off. It'll take quite a lot of load, and it's all sealed. If we follow the main sheet further back, the main sheet runs underneath the trampoline. And we might get the camera to have a look underneath the trampoline, or there you go, you can see there. We've run it through a series of dead eyes. That's a stainless steel dead eye, and then back through another plastic saddle used as a dead eye. Don't need to have the main sheet running through cheek blocks like this, unless there's a deviation in the angle so that it actually does run on the ball bearing wheel. If it's just running straight through, there's not a lot of load, it just keeps it out of the water. So what we've done is we have mounted a cheek block on the side here, just to keep it away from the hatch so that we can actually operate the hatch without getting the main sheet jammed when the hatch closes. Also whip the main sheet onto here instead of using a knot. Again, just a bit more streamlined. Obviously you can see we've modified the anchoring point to a big handle, which makes it very easy to load the boat on and off a trailer. You can get 2 people onto it, one on either side hanging onto it. It's quite solid. Used original mounting points plus a couple of extras. You can see it fits in quite neat with the rudder type arrangement. We've also modified the clip here. It's for trailing. We keep that off obviously when we're on the water, but for on the beach and for trailing we've got the clip arrangement through a little bush top arrangement for the knot, just to keep it out of the way, and that's just for putting the mast down. This is another ram ball, 1.5 inch. Use that for a camera boom that actually runs off the side or runs high. It's also been adapted, or at least our light has been adapted to mount on that, so it's a 1 metre high, all-round light that will actually sit up over the top and shed light when night fishing and make it legal as well. If we follow that main sheet down, you'll see one of the other modifications that we made very early in the piece was actually this, to put a hook arrangement on the what we call the backsaver plate. This has been a terrific arrangement. We haven't done it on the tandem islands, but find that when it's not in there and you tighten up the main sheet when you furl the sail, the main sheet now runs right across where your head is, and you're constantly having to duck it, and if you're fishing with it once you've furled the sail, this is in the way all the time. So it's quite an easy method just to furl the sail, and then you pop the main sheet underneath there, snip it up, so when you're actually sitting in the seat and you're fishing, or you're disembarking when you get to the beach or whatever, the main sheet is entirely out of the way. It's been a terrific modification, especially on the Adventure Island where the sail's quite low to your head. You can see here we've now set up the mast with the furler arrangement. And you can see again the furler drum runs beautifully in terms of angle, straight up to the cheek block, through the cheek block, down to a dead eye and through your cam cleat. Haven't needed to run it down to the deck and then underneath the crossbar and then bring it back up onto the gunnel and then through, which means quite a number of changes of direction through cheek blocks, irrespective of going through ball bearing blocks. Every time you reverse it 180 degrees there's still frictional build-up. Here we've actually only maintained a 90-degree turn and then straight through. This enables the rope to run out very cleanly, and it's been a terrific modification there as well. You'll notice on the furling drum we've made another slight modification. We just put an eye bolt on here rather than having a knot underneath for this rope. We just put an eye bolt in so that all the downhaul rope can be maintained above the actual drum. Not a super important modification, but another little one to just make life a bit easier. As we just have a little bit look further at the seat, you'll see that we've also raised the height of the seat. There's been a number of seat modifications done for the AI, from foam filling to skipper seats put right up. All of those are great modifications and they suit obviously individual people. What we've done here is maintain the original seating, but we've done a fiberglass Kevlar type arrangement. It gives us storage underneath. It's a drift chute. Although there's some dirty marks here, that's actually just some of the old stuff that was from the moulding when we did it in a hurry. This is actually solid fiberglass. You can stand on it, it's not going to break. Though it's not a particularly pretty shape, it actually does fit the shape of the hull, and so it pressure bears onto the hull the whole time, and it means that we can actually lift up the seat and store it. And we can fold the top of the seat down as well. Straight away you'll see some interesting modifications here. This is certainly not the end of the run for this modification, but just a test bed. This was a plywood back. I have a bit of a back problem, and so we've been looking at seat modifications to support the original seating. The original seating, when we didn't have the ply, when I leant further back, the thing would fold down and I found I didn't have support. This enables the seat to maintain its shape. We've got stainless steel buckles on the side, very similar to what Hobie actually supplied, except we found we were snapping the buckles again, especially on very windy days when you're pushing back and you're pedalling or you're looking to get your weight back a bit further. The buckles were fatiguing over time, so we just changed them to stainless steel cam buckles with just the original Hobie clips. And this has been, again, a simple but very, very good modification. This arm actually pivots so that as the seat goes down, it can swing up out of the way, and it can swing to take the shape of the seat. So that seat can actually move around, and it can be bent so you can sort of lean on it wherever you want to lean on it. You can actually alter the angle if you want to go further back with it, or you can set it further upright if you feel that way is more comfortable. I've been using this particular seat now for 2 years and have found that it gives me great comfort. I'm able to use the lumbar support, which I do actually use. I pump it up sometimes and other times I let it out. So I've been able to maintain the seat. I have not drilled any extra holes in the hull. I've used original Hobie mount, so it can certainly be pulled out and the original seat put back in with no compromise whatsoever. I found that to be a really terrific modification. Keeps you out of the water, keeps your bum out of the water a bit, plus storage underneath, and I can access the storage without having to actually undo the seat or anything else. So that's been another beauty for us. See another small modification. I haven't actually got this here at the moment. We put an extra plate on top of the tiller. We experiment with our hard tramps. You actually sit right out the tramps. We do have a Ronston tiller extension that clips onto here, and then you can sit right out either side and actually sail it like a catamaran. And that's been a real big bonus in heavy weather. We're experimenting with tandem island ammers on there, gives us a bit more flotation, and also really good when we use the hard tramps as a fishing platform. So you can see there's quite a few modifications there, mostly aimed at, I guess, driven by me having a bad back and wanting to be able to have a good seating position, be able to operate my furler and my main sheet, all from a comfortable sitting position without having to reach too far. There are also separate lines, which I prefer, rather than tying them all up and getting them all tangled. We've got rod holders at the front for bait fishing. We're just holding a rod. We've got trawling lines if we need to. We've got storage lines. We put esky or a container in the back, clipped down with bungee lines. We modified the bungee line so that it'll hook on the container just hooks, bungee line just hooks straight on the hook, keeps the container in. It's an instant setup. And then from there, everything works well. We can furl quickly, we can get the main sheet out of the way, and get about fishing and get about storing all the camping gear quite comfortably. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. These are obviously works in progress. We're just constantly modifying bits and pieces on the machine to make it easier and more able to be used. I think probably the greatest thing that we've done is probably move the rear cross members back so that everything lines up beautifully. There's no stress on the backers. Alignment of the hammers with the hull is perfect. It means it's actually easier getting down the beach on narrow trails, so they don't splay out or get caught anywhere. It's easier loading it on the trailer. If you look up there, you'll see the trailer is parallel. We just pop the nose of the kayak on the red roller and it slides up beautifully. Never get the nose of the hammers caught outside the trailer or anything like that. It all just lines up really, really well. Thank you for watching the video, and appreciate any of your comments.